Now on Fast Track, we are following details in Purdue University Board of Trustees meeting.
See the housing challenges on and off campus this year and advice on how to make the process easier.
Plus, we have an update on the homicide investigation at McCutcheon Hall.
And we sit down with a Ukrainian scholar who is continuing her studies at Purdue. Good afternoon, Boilers. Today is Friday, October 21st. I'm Jeff Murphy.
And I'm Rosie Liu. Welcome to Fast Track News. The October Board of Trustees meeting was full of important items, and Marcus Truccio is here to break it down for you.
One of the most impactful items when it comes to campus life that was on the Board of Trustees agenda was the long list of academic buildings that will either be renovated, restored, or knocked down. The Board of Trustees announced a $46 million plan to renovate and restore Stanley Coulter, Beering, and University halls. There is also an additional $10 million being used to renovate 2 campus libraries. Though it's a hefty sum of money, students believe it's money well spent due to the growing campus population.
I've definitely noticed that the study areas get really crowded, and that's a big problem because people are forced to study in random places. I had to study in the stairwell of Walt one time.
Even though construction can be hectic to navigate around on campus, most students think it's worth the projects once they're complete.
I honestly don't really mind all the construction on campus because it just shows that we're developing more and progressing, and our campus is growing and becoming more updated, I guess. So I don't mind it, and I think it's a good use of money.
With regard to these buildings and the renovations, I think that these buildings around Memorial Mall are not very nice and they need a lot of work, so it's good that they're putting money there.
Once these projects are completed, Hevlon Hall will be knocked down and plans for the space will be announced at a later date. Additionally, Provost Jay Ackridge submitted to the trustees classroom master plan recommendations, which will use $8.4 million to transform 90 classrooms across campus. This was decided after taking a year's worth of campus input. Though most students think these projects are good for campus, one student Fast Track spoke with that did not want to be featured on camera says that money can be used elsewhere, like at the often overwhelmed CAPS. These projects are just some of what was discussed at the last Board of Trustees meeting. Next week on Fast Track, we'll break it down even further for you. Marcus Truccio reporting for Fast Track.
The trustees also raised housing and dining rates at Purdue's satellite campuses all across the state of Indiana. The Board of Trustees meeting was packed with many action items. They approved $56 million in renovations to academic buildings. One of the buildings that will soon be under construction is University Hall. The oldest building on campus, University Hall, was built in 1877 and is the only remaining building from Purdue's original 6-building campus. The hall will undergo a complete restoration, which will provide a core campus study and collaboration area for students, faculty, and staff. It will also include updated classrooms. This renovation is the first to University Hall since 1961 and is a part of the recently completed master plan.
The trustees also approved an employment contract for incoming President Meng Chang. Chang's annual base pay will be $420,000 with $210,000 of at-risk pay. There are also retention incentives included in the contract. The contract runs for 6.5 years, beginning January 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2029. Chang will have the opportunity to return to faculty if the agreement expires without renewal. Now is that time for a first look at the weather.
Fast Track's Marcus Truccio joins us now. I hear we have a warm-up coming, Marcus.
Yeah, we are seeing a warm-up, and that is starting today. Right now, outside, we will see highs of 71 for this Friday, ending off the week pretty nice. It is going to be pretty breezy. We can see winds 10 to 20 miles per hour, maybe even some gusts up to 25. But when the temperatures are 70 degrees in late October, it's not too bad. Looking at the hourly forecast for the rest of today, we will see those temperatures get up into the upper 60s, and the high temperature will be somewhere in between 3 and 6 o'clock when we reach 71 degrees. And then once this sun starts to go down, we'll maybe see some clouds around 62 degrees by 9 p.m. and in the upper 50s by midnight. If you have any Friday night plans, it's going to be a little different from last weekend. You might not need that heavy coat. Coming up in just a bit, we'll talk more about the warm-up coming and just how warm it'll get.
With COVID-19 cases steadily declining in Tippecanoe County, the Health Department, in collaboration with Purdue University, have announced that wastewater surveillance testing for COVID-19 ended Tuesday. According to Protect Purdue, The team continues to be guided by the latest science and medical expertise. The Protect Purdue team also encouraged the campus community to reserve the update COVID-19 booster.
Grief can bring people together. That is something President Mitch Daniels said during his speech last Wednesday on October 12th in the France A. Cordova Recreational Sports Center, where a vigil was held in remembrance of Purdue student Varun Manish-Chedda. The vigil also included words from Purdue Student Government President Andrew Jensen, along with Varun's father, Dr. Manish-Chedda, and two of Varun's friends. Varun's roommate and suspect in his murder, Ji-Min Shah, has been officially charged in court. His next hearing is scheduled to be on December 2nd at 9 a.m.
Last week, President Daniel led a panel discussion with 3 participants of the Ukrainian Scholar Initiative.
The goal of the program is to help faculty and PhD students whose academic pursuits were impacted by the conflict. Jaden Rousey spoke with one of the scholars about the war in her home country and her life now at Purdue.
The Purdue community has come together as it does on so many occasions around a good cause and around good people.
As the war in Ukraine continues, many scholars and students travel to other countries to pursue their studies and research. Several of these scholars were able to find a home at Purdue. Tanya Gordienko was one of 3 scholars who joined President Mitch Daniels for a panel last Thursday. Tanya arrived at Purdue in late July, where she joined the Lamb School of Communication to further her research.
This is part of the research that I'm doing for my PhD, which is about media consumption through digital platforms.
Tanya discussed how she felt welcomed here at Purdue and that several professors and administrators have helped and supported her.
My hosts, Stacy Kanat and Howard Cipher, because they really welcomed me here and introduced me to people, tried to make me comfortable here.
Since arriving in the United States, Tanya has been able to travel and explore her hobbies in other cities. She also said that she couldn't believe how large Purdue really was until she stepped foot on the campus.
I completely had this feeling like I'm inside of the movie because it's all really what I saw in the mass culture. So I didn't think that it was a shock, but it felt somehow familiar.
Through the Ukraine Scholars Initiative, Tanya is hopeful that the experience she and fellow scholars receive from other countries will be fundamental for aiding Ukraine once they can return.
We will have a lot of people with international experience, which is really good, and which will, support the science in Ukraine.
This is Jaden Rusi, Fast Track News.
Purdue's program launched in March of this year, shortly after Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
7 scholars are currently on campus, with 3 more expected in the near future.
Well, last Saturday, a woman died after falling down the stairs at Ross-Ade Stadium. According to the Tippecanoe County coroner, the woman was identified as 80-year-old Donna Steenberger. It's believed she struck her head during this last Saturday's game. The coroner says she died the following day around 10 a.m. An autopsy is pending in regard to awaiting toxicology reports and hospital records, which is standard protocol.
Coming up on Fast Track, find out what crews were doing at the Arc in front of the Union earlier this week.
Students have been facing a number of housing issues this year on and off campus. Find out possible solutions and causes to this issue coming up next on Fast Track News.
What does it take to be a Purdue tour guide? You've got to know your history. You have to know your facts.
They really do the most to help make sure that
You've got to have that Purdue spirit. And you have to walk backwards.
Football. It's the best time of the year. You know what else is great? The world's largest and fastest mascot. You can't have Purdue football without the trains. Look for the Reamer Club outside Stewart Center, 12 to 5 p.m. on Fridays before home football games, for your chance to ride the Boilermaker Special for free. See you then!
Former President Bush is joining President Mitch Daniels for the final Purdue Presidential Lecture Series event on December 6th at 6 p.m. in Elliott's Hall of Music. Daniels served in the White House as Bush's first budget director. The conversation will be centered around leadership and citizenship. Tickets will be required for these events, and will be available November 7th.
Earlier this week, Me Too Purdue held another protest calling for the removal of Katie Sermersheim and Elisa Rollick. The march ended at the Arc on the corner of Grant and State Streets, where participants wrote various messages in chalk. The next morning, crews were seen washing the chalk from the area. Fast Track reached out to Purdue police, and while they didn't confirm this was an act of vandalism, Captain Song Kang said chalking is limited to sidewalk areas and is prohibited from brick and vertical surfaces. The next director for Purdue's Black Cultural Center has recently been selected. The woman chosen was Ann Edwards, a Purdue graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree in Hospitality and Tourism Management and Master's in Business Administration from Valparaiso University, and current director of the Center for Black Studies at Northern Illinois University, where she earned her PhD in educational psychology.
John Gates, Vice Provost for the Office of Diversity, said that Edward has a passion for creating a culture of belonging for all students, faculty, and staff, combined with her commitment to scholarly excellence, will help lead the Black Culture Center to new levels of campus connection and national prominence. Edward also said herself that it's truly an honor to be able to give back and help cultivate a sense of belonging for the next generation of Black Boilermakers while creating a space of learning and understanding for all Boilermakers.
Edwards has presented around the world at conferences and is a co-host of a podcast titled Black Women Voices, a show that explores topics and themes regarding Black women in higher education.
If you live near the intersection of Wood and Chauncey, you may have seen a dramatic change in recent months.
Also, some students have found themselves in a unique housing situation for this upcoming year due to a number of challenges in the local rental market. Andrea Yu has advice if you haven't thought about your housing for next year yet.
I'm standing here behind Rise and Hub on State Street, where multiple smaller apartment complexes used to stand. However, they've since been torn down since the start of the school year, and plans to make another high-rise apartment complex. This new high-rise building was approved by the West Lafayette City Council over the summer. The new building will be named Verve and will be 7 stories with 763 bedrooms and retail space on the first floor. Another new building is set to be built just nearby on Pierce and Wood Street, which will be an apartment complex with 103 bedrooms. We spoke to Ted Hardesty, a member of the West Lafayette City Council and student at Purdue, who said housing is a common topic brought up in meetings.
First question we ask is, are you going to get more beds out of that new property? Because that's what we desperately need right now.
Unfortunately, the development of these new high-rises created even more problems for certain students.
I got an email around, I think, late June or early July from BK Management saying that my lease was terminated along with every other resident in the building.
On had signed a lease the previous school year to live in one of the apartments that have since been torn down.
On such a short notice, I was very stressed.
According to the 2021 Tippecanoe County Student Rental Report, only around 1% of units in all of West Lafayette were vacant. What could be causing this tiny vacancy rate? Perhaps yet another year of record enrollment at Purdue, where the university broke the record with a whopping 50,000 students. While some think that the long-standing tuition freeze is contributing to this overadmittance, some students still rely on the university's low cost to attend.
I generally agree with the freezing of tuition. I mean, as a student who relies on financial aid myself, that has helped me. It's helped a lot of students too, but because of that, to offset costs, the university upped attendance to such a degree that we just do not have the space currently.
Other issues students have faced this year with housing is a freshman who got placed with 7 other roommates in a common space in Cary Quadrangle.
It's almost like a sleepover that just never ends. There's always something going on. Someone's always pulling a prank.
Despite their unique living situation, the 8 freshmen have made the best out of it, even going viral on TikTok and being featured on WLFI. With all of these housing developments, Purdue is on a track for even more growth in the coming years. This is Andrea Yu reporting for Fast Track News.
We will continue to follow housing developments and new construction sites on campus. There's new exciting research now being conducted on campus. Purdue School of Aeronautics and Astronautics will be working alongside commercial software provider AnalysWift to create a computer tool to design tailorable composites and hybrid material systems for space applications. and Alice Swift recently received a NASA contract to develop this tool, and Purdue School of Aeronautics and Astronautics was one of just 2 university programs chosen to be included in the project.
You know it's fall in Indiana when you have to wear your winter coat one day and shorts the next. That was the same for much of this week. Earlier this week, freeze warnings were issued for our area and temperature dipped below freezing in the morning. There were even a few snowflakes in the area on Monday. But this weekend, there will be recorded warms with temperature approaching 80. Fast Track's Marcus Churchill will have more details in your fall weather outlook.
Yeah, so looking ahead, with the big story is the warm-up, and that's starting today, like I said before, and it's going to peak over the weekend. It's going to be an absolutely beautiful weekend to get outside, and we're going to have to take a look at the record books because Sunday we're going to be approaching that record temperature. And how long will the warmth last, and when will we see some cool downs? Coming up in just a bit on Fast Track.
I work for Student Life because I'm able to develop leadership skills that will carry over after college.
I work in Student Life because I'm developing time management skills and friendships that will last a lifetime.
So we're talking about this warm-up, but if you guys remember, just a couple days ago, we had temperatures 20s in the morning yesterday, 30s throughout the week, and there was a lake effect snow event in Northeast Indiana. We just missed it here in Lafayette. There were a few flakes flying around in the area, but up to 4 inches almost in Northeast Indiana. Fort Wayne saw 2.5 inches. Goshen, Indiana saw 1 inch, and this was the scene outside the National Weather Service in Northern Indiana, kind of in between South Bend and Fort Wayne, and it's looking a lot different outside now as we are seeing those temperatures climb through the 70s today. We will see that high of 71 today with a low of 51 tonight. So a really, really nice day for late October. A really nice night as well. It's going to stay sunny, but we are going to see breezy conditions. Like I said, gusts possibly up to 25 miles per hour. And same story for Saturday. We're going to heat things up just a little bit at 75 degrees with that low of 56, but still pretty breezy. And those gusts on Saturday can approach 30 miles per hour. And once we get to Sunday, that's the day where we might be approaching a record. The record high for Sunday is 78 degrees. We're forecasting 76, but we very well can get up into the upper 70s. So that's something definitely to keep an eye on. Very warm, still got those breezy conditions around with a low of 59 degrees. Now we're up at Wisconsin this weekend. Kickoff is at 3:30. If you're doing anything before the game, if you happen to be traveling up to Madison, it's going to be warm up there as well, which honestly, very, very lucky because Wisconsin this time of year, it could be in the teens and snowing. It was snowing there last week. So it's going to be 68 degrees at noon if you're doing anything before the game, 73 degrees by the time kickoff starts. Absolutely beautiful, mostly sunny, and that'll continue through the evening. So pretty awesome for anyone traveling up to Madison this weekend. And then as we take a look at the 7-day forecast, after our absolutely beautiful, warm weekend, we'll get to Monday where clouds might increase a little bit, but still warm at 75 degrees. And then working our way later into next week, Tuesday is our next chance for some precipitation, some showers, still putting the details together on that. And lows at night start to cool off again as well. Getting into Wednesday, we'll be in the 50s with low of 36. And Thursday, maybe hitting the 60s, but at least we still have that sun around.
It's a quest to be the best in the Big Ten West. Tune in after the break to find out what happens at the end of this game. I'm Sean English. You're watching Fast Track News.
Are you looking for a new hobby?
Or do you want to have a fun evening with your friends?
Then come climb to new heights at the Co-Rec Climbing Wall. Imagine a world where Olympics and Paralympics are unified as one, and where all athletes at all levels have equal opportunities to play and perform at their full potential.
Athletics has been such an influential and transformative aspect of my life. So to me, RISE is about ensuring that every person that has the desire to participate in sport has the opportunity to do so.
This organization is about recognition. We believe in recognizing excellence where it is found, especially in Paralympic sports.
RISE is about driving change in our community and beyond. We hope that through our events and initiatives, we can galvanize people for our cause and inspire them to create an ever-growing network to help achieve our mission.
It's about connecting people of various backgrounds and who truly care about creating meaningful change together.
We develop projects and hold events to bring people together at the interface of inclusivity, sports, and engineering.
Our goal is to promote the equality of all sports and to improve sports performance and accessibility.
Join us so that you can have a major contribution in creating meaningful change.
It's corn, a big lump with knobs. It has the juice, it has the juice. Our Boilers won the Battle of the Corn by beating Nebraska 43-37, proving that the only person that loves corn more than us is Tariq from the viral TikTok. Freshman Devin Maccabee had 197 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. Our fearless leader, Aiden O'Connell, nearly threw for 400 yards and tallied 4 touchdowns to go along with it. His top target was none other than Charlie Jones with 12 catches for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. I would love to have him on my fantasy team, that's for sure. Now on to next week. The Purdue football team hits the road to visit Badger territory tomorrow. We haven't beaten Wisconsin on their home turf since October 18, 2003. Wisconsin owns a 2-2 home record for the season with losses to Illinois and Washington State. Charlie Jones comes into this game with 735 receiving yards, which is more than both of Wisconsin's top leading receivers combined. Vegas is calling a 3-point victory for the Badgers, but what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, including their opinion. All that matters is we are healthy as a team and coming off a massive Nebraska win. A win should take us to the top 25. Let's take this win home with us and build some momentum going into the bye week. A tough week for the girls from Holloway as the volleyball team loses 3 of their last 4. But we look to bounce back tomorrow against number 9, Minnesota. We swept Minnesota when we played, but now we have to travel to their place as they look for revenge. Big Ten play is always a battle, but we will appreciate this level of competition come tournament time. A silver lining is that we beat IU last weekend, and we still look strong as a team. Eva Hudson continues to make waves as she has led the team in kills in 3 of sophomores. Jordan Respecka and Maggie Love took home some honors in swimming and diving's opening meet against Missouri. Love was named Big Ten Swimmer of the Week, and Respecka took home his 2nd Big Ten Diver of the Week honors. A lot to be excited about this team, with Tyler Downs coming off of a national championship last year. Soccer season comes to a close this Sunday against Maryland. A win here would mean our first win in Big Ten play this season. Gracie Dunaway has 6 goals and looks to add to her very impressive total to end the season on the right foot. That's all for sports. I'm Sean English, and you're watching Fast Track News.
Hi there, my name is Vikram Jaithlak, and I'm the founder and president of the Purdue chapter of the University Blood Initiative. Over the past 2 years, we've been able to collect over 300 pints of blood to be donated to local hospitals, and you can be the next one to help out.
I donate my blood at the University Blood Initiative.
Hi, I just donated blood through the University Blood Initiative.
Hi, I just donated blood through the University Blood Initiative at Purdue.
Right, I donated my blood through the University Blood Initiative at Purdue.
And I donated my blood at University Blood Initiative at Purdue.
We're introducing a new segment on Fast Track.
It's called Question of the Week, where we go out on campus and ask just one question to students. This week's question: how many cups of coffee have you had today?
None, but I'm on 30 minutes of sleep, so.
I think it's time for a cup of coffee.
0. 1.
Just one. Just one?
Me too.
One? Awesome. Thank you.
I'm back with one more look at the 7-day outlook, and like I've been saying this whole time, this weekend is going to be absolutely gorgeous. If you have any inclination to go out and do those outdoor plans, go ahead and do it. Go for that hike, go for that picnic. It's going to be 75 degrees on Saturday, a little bit warmer on Sunday, approaching record territory there with lows almost 60 degrees on Sunday. So really beautiful. Still warm on Monday with some clouds hanging around. And then Tuesday, it's going to cool off a bit with that chance for showers. That's our next chance for precipitation. And then we'll clear out later next week, but cool off. 56 on Wednesday, 61 on Thursday with 30s for our lows.
Hi, my name is Erin Isaac, and I'm social media director here at Fast Track News. Each week, I post behind the scenes and fun reels about campus life, just like this one. Head over to Instagram to check it out. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube at Purdue Fast Track News.
That's it for this edition of Fast Track News. I'm Rosie Liu.
And I'm Jeff Murphy. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend, Boilers.
Stay tuned for Watching Washington, a new production from the Brian Lamb School of Communication.
What does it take to be a Purdue tour guide? You've got to know your history. You have to know your facts. You've got to have that Purdue spirit. You have to walk backwards.
Are you looking for a new hobby?
Or do you want to have a fun evening with your friends?
Then come climb to new heights at the Co-Rec Climbing Wall.
The Center for C-SPAN, which is this organization, the CCSC, what we do is we facilitate like a bunch of organizations, different programs for Brian Lamb, which is the founder of C-SPAN. Anyone can be part of CCSC, whether it be through our various internships, our competitions, just to be involved, even like our student community meetings that we have every week. Anyone can go, you don't have to be communications or poli-sci. You just meet so many people, the connections you make is kind of crazy, the range that CCSC has. So yeah, it's just provided me so many opportunities to like kind of achieve the goals I have personally and forward to like whatever career paths I choose.
1. You're watching Fast Track News.